Shalom, my dear friends, and welcome back. Today, we are going to uncover a profound truth about wealth creation that has been systematically hidden from you. We are going to look at the one specific habit, the one foundational practice that built almost every major Jewish fortune in history. And then we are going to look at exactly how and why this habit was deliberately removed from the modern school system. Because once you understand what was taken from you, you can take it back. And for those who are truly serious about accelerating their journey, for a limited time, I am opening the doors to the Torah Millionaire Business School for just $299. This is where I unveil the complete Torah wealth system, the full architecture of ancient wisdom applied to modern financial transformation. The doors are closing soon. The link is in the comments and in the description below. Let us start with a fundamental question. Why is it that certain communities seem to thrive financially, generation after generation, regardless of the economic climate, regardless of where they live, and regardless of the obstacles they face? Is it genetics? Is it luck? Is it some secret conspiracy? The answer is none of those things. The answer is education. But not the kind of education you receive in a modern classroom. I am talking about a very specific type of financial education, a habit of mind and action that the Jewish tradition calls chinuk. In the Talmud, in Tractat Kiddushin 29a, there is a fascinating discussion about the obligations a parent has toward a child. The sages list several duties. A parent must teach their child Torah. A parent must teach their child to swim. And crucially, a parent must teach their child a trade or a craft. The Talmud states explicitly that anyone who does not teach their child a trade is essentially teaching them to become a thief. Think about the weight of that statement. The sages did not say that failing to teach a trade makes a child poor. They said it makes them a thief. Why? Because a person who does not know how to create value, a person who does not know how to sustain themselves through their own efforts will eventually be forced to take from others, either directly or indirectly. This Talmudic obligation created a culture where financial education was not an elective subject, it was a religious duty. From the earliest age, children were taught not just how to read and write, but how money works. They were taught the value of labor. They were taught how to buy and sell. They were taught how to manage resources. They were taught the difference between an asset that produces value and a liability that consumes it. This was the habit of continuous, practical, intergenerational financial education. Now, let us look at how this habit was put into practice. One of the most famous methods, which has been passed down through generations, is the system of the 5 jars. This is a practical application of Talmudic principles designed to teach children and adults how to allocate their resources. When a child received money, they were not simply told to save it or spend it. They were taught to divide it into 5 specific categories. The first category is giving, or tzedakah. 10% of all income goes here. This teaches the child from day one that they are not the center of the universe. It teaches them that wealth is a tool for blessing others. It breaks the grip of selfishness and creates a mindset of abundance. When you give 10% away, you are telling your brain that there is more than enough. The second category is saving for security. 10% goes here. This is not money to be spent on a rainy day. This is money that is never touched unless there is an absolute emergency. It teaches the child the value of a financial fortress. It teaches them that peace of mind is more valuable than immediate consumption. The third category is investing for growth. 10% goes here. This is the money that goes to work. This is the money that buys assets. It teaches the child the difference between working for money and having money work for them. It introduces the concept of compounding and the patience required to see a seed grow into a tree. The fourth category is education and self-improvement. 10% goes here. The Jewish tradition places an infinite value on learning. This jar teaches the child that the best investment they will ever make is in their own mind, their own skills, and their own character. The fifth category is living expenses. The remaining 60% goes here. This teaches the child to live within their means. It teaches them budgeting, prioritization, and the discipline of delayed gratification. This 5-jar system is not just a budgeting tool, it is a complete financial philosophy. It is the habit that built fortunes because it ensures that every dollar that comes into a household is assigned a purpose that aligns with long-term growth and spiritual values. So, if this habit is so powerful, why do you not learn it in school? Why do children spend 12 years in the education system learning algebra, history, and literature, but graduate without knowing how to balance a checkbook, how to invest in an index fund, or how to read a financial statement? To understand this, you have to look at the origins of the modern school system. The system we use today, with its bells, its rigid schedules, its standardized tests, and its age-based cohorts, was not designed to create independent thinkers or wealthy entrepreneurs. It was designed in Prussia in the 19th century and later adopted by industrialists in America and Europe for a very specific purpose. It was designed to create obedient factory workers. The industrialists of the 19th century did not need a workforce of financially independent, critical thinkers. They needed people who would show up on time, follow instructions, do repetitive tasks without complaining, and accept a steady wage. They needed employees, not owners, and the school system was perfectly engineered to produce exactly that. Think about what school actually teaches you about money. It teaches you that if you follow the rules, get good grades, and get a degree, you will get a good job. It teaches you to trade your time for a salary. It teaches you to rely on an employer for your security. It teaches you to be a consumer rather than a producer. It completely ignores the Talmudic mandate to teach a child a trade, which in the modern context means teaching them how to create value independently of an employer. The erasure of financial education from the school system was not necessarily a malicious conspiracy, but it was a highly effective structural design. By removing the habit of financial chinook, the system ensured a steady supply of dependent workers who would spend their entire lives building wealth for someone else. Let me tell you a story about a man named Arthur. Arthur was a brilliant engineer. He went to the best schools, got the highest grades, and landed a prestigious job at a major technology firm. He earned a 6-figure salary. By all conventional measures, the school system had worked perfectly for him. But Arthur was financially illiterate. He had never been taught the habit of the 5 jars. He spent everything he earned on a large house, expensive cars, and luxury vacations. He had no investments, no emergency fund, and a mountain of debt. When the economy took a downturn and his company downsized, Arthur lost his job. Within 3 months, he was facing bankruptcy. The school system had taught him how to be a great employee, but it had never taught him how to be a steward of his own wealth. Now contrast Arthur with a woman named Beatrice. Beatrice did not go to an elite university. She started working in a bakery right out of high school. But Beatrice had been raised with the habit of financial chinook. Her parents had taught her the 5-jar system. Even when she was making minimum wage, she gave 10% to charity, saved 10%, and invested 10%. She lived frugally on the remaining 70%. Over time, she used her education jar to take business classes at night. She used her investment jar to buy a small stake in the bakery where she worked. When the owner retired, Beatrice bought the business. Because she understood how money worked, she expanded the bakery into a successful chain. Beatrice built a fortune not because she had a better formal education than Arthur, but because she had the right financial habit. The disappearance of this habit from schools means that if you want to build wealth, you cannot rely on the system to teach you how. You have to take responsibility for your own financial chinuch. You have to become your own teacher, and more importantly, you have to become the teacher for your children. The Torah tells us in Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 7, that we must teach these words diligently to our children. This applies not just to spiritual laws, but to the practical wisdom of living a good and righteous life, which includes financial stewardship. You cannot outsource this responsibility to a school system that was designed to produce employees. So how do you reclaim this habit? How do you start building the foundation for a fortune today? First, you must break the silence around money. In many households, money is a taboo subject. Parents do not discuss their finances with their children because they think it will cause anxiety or because they are embarrassed by their own mistakes. This is a profound error. You must talk about money openly. You must explain how you earn it, how you save it, and how you invest it. You must let your children see you making financial decisions, both good and bad, so they can learn from your experience. Second, you must implement a system of allocation. Whether you use the 5 jars or another method, you must stop treating your income as a single pool of money to be spent until it is gone. Every dollar must have an assignment. When you give your money a purpose, you take control of your financial destiny. Third, you must shift your mindset from consumer to producer. The school system trains you to consume. It trains you to buy things to signal your status. The Jewish habit of wealth creation is based on producing value. Look at your life and ask yourself, how can I create more value for others? How can I solve problems? How can I build assets that generate income even when I am not working? Let me share another story. This is about a family, the Levines. The Levines were immigrants who arrived in a new country with nothing. They did not speak the language well, and they had no formal education. But they had the habit. The father worked as a tailor, and the mother took in laundry. They earned very little, but they strictly followed the principle of allocation. They lived in a tiny apartment, but they always gave to charity, and they always saved a portion of their income. They taught their 3 children the same principles. They did not buy them expensive toys. Instead, they bought them books and taught them how to save their pennies. When the children grew up, they did not go into debt to buy things they could not afford. The oldest son used his savings to buy a small grocery store. The middle daughter used her savings to start a clothing business. The youngest son became an accountant. Within 1 generation, the Levine family went from penniless immigrants to wealthy business owners. They did not do it through luck or through the school system. They did it through the relentless application of the habit of financial chinuch. The tragedy of the modern world is that we have outsourced our most important responsibilities to institutions that do not have our best interests at heart. We have outsourced our health to the medical system, our spirituality to the entertainment industry, and our financial education to a school system designed to make us employees. But the power to change this is entirely in your hands. The wisdom of the Talmud is not locked away in a museum. It is available to anyone willing to learn it and apply it. The habit that built every Jewish fortune is not a secret formula. It is a daily practice of discipline, allocation, and continuous learning. When you start practicing this habit, something remarkable happens. You stop feeling like a victim of the economy. You stop worrying about what the government is going to do or what the stock market is going to do. You realize that your financial destiny is determined by your own actions and your own alignment with the principles of wealth creation. You begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You begin to understand that wealth is not a zero-sum game. When you create value, you expand the total amount of wealth in the world. This is the deepest spiritual truth about money. It is a tool for creation, a tool for blessing, and a tool for fulfilling your divine purpose. Do not wait for the school system to change. It will not change because it is functioning exactly as it was designed to function. Take the responsibility upon yourself. Start today. Start with whatever income you have right now. Divide it, allocate it, give a portion away, save a portion, invest a portion, and most importantly, teach these principles to anyone who will listen. This is how fortunes are built, not overnight, not through a lottery ticket, but through the steady, relentless application of ancient wisdom. This is the habit they tried to erase, but they could not erase it completely because truth cannot be destroyed. It can only be forgotten. And today, you are remembering it. And remember, if you are ready to take this transformation to the highest possible level, the Torah Millionaire Business School is waiting for you. For a limited time, you can access the complete Torah Wealth System for just $299. This is the exact blueprint I have used to help thousands of people achieve massive financial and spiritual success. The doors are closing soon, so click the link in the comments and in the description right now. Let us delve deeper into the psychological impact of this habit. When a child is raised without financial education, they often develop a relationship with money based on anxiety and mystery. Money becomes something that happens to them rather than something they manage. They see their parents stressing over bills, arguing about expenses, or silently worrying about the future. This creates a subconscious belief that money is a source of pain and conflict. As they grow older, this belief manifests in self-sabotaging behaviors. They might avoid looking at their bank accounts, overspend to soothe their anxiety, or accept lower wages because they do not believe they deserve more. The lack of chinush does not just leave them ignorant. It leaves them emotionally wounded in their relationship with abundance. Conversely, the habit of financial chinook builds profound psychological resilience. When a child is taught the 5-jar system, they learn that money is simply a tool. It is not a mystery, and it is not a monster. It is a resource that responds to discipline and intention. They learn that they have agency. If they want to buy something, they know they must allocate funds to their spending jar. If they want to help someone, they know they have funds in their giving jar. This early experience of agency translates into a powerful sense of self-efficacy in adulthood. They do not fear the economy because they know how to manage their own microeconomy. They do not fear losing a job because they have built a financial fortress through their saving and investing jars. This psychological freedom is the true foundation of wealth. Consider the Talmudic principle found in Tractate Shabbat 119a, which states that one of the first questions a person is asked by the heavenly court after they pass away is, "Did you conduct your business affairs with faithfulness and honesty?" This question reveals a profound truth about the Jewish view of wealth. Business and finance are not secular activities separate from spiritual life. They are the primary arena in which spiritual character is tested and forged. How you handle money, how you treat your employees, how you deal with your customers, these are not just economic issues, they are moral issues. The habit of financial chinook is therefore not just about making children rich. It is about making them righteous. It teaches them that wealth is a responsibility, a stewardship entrusted to them by God. This brings us to another critical aspect of the habit that disappeared from schools, the concept of intergenerational wealth transfer. The modern system encourages a mindset of individual consumption. You work, you earn, you spend, you retire, and you die. The Jewish tradition, however, emphasizes building for the next generation. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 22 says that a good person leaves an inheritance to their children's children. This is not just about leaving a pile of money. It is about leaving a legacy of wisdom, values, and financial infrastructure. The habit of Chinook ensures that wealth is not squandered by the second generation, a common phenomenon known as the shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations curse. By teaching children how to manage wealth before they inherit it, the habit ensures that the fortune continues to grow and serve the community long after the original creator has passed away. Let me illustrate this with the story of the Rothman family. The patriarch, Samuel Rothman, built a highly successful manufacturing business in the mid-20th century. He was a wealthy man, but he lived modestly and insisted that his children learn the value of hard work. He did not just give them money, he gave them financial chinook. He required them to work in the factory during their summers, starting from the lowest positions. He taught them how to read the company's financial statements. He showed them how he negotiated contracts and how he evaluated investments. Most importantly, he taught them the principle of tzedakah, requiring them to manage a portion of the family's charitable giving. When Samuel passed away, his children did not fight over the inheritance or squander it on luxury. They understood the responsibility that came with the wealth. They expanded the business, diversified the investments, and significantly increased the family's philanthropic impact. They passed the same habits down to their own children. Today, the Rothman family is in its 4th generation of wealth, and their foundation supports hospitals, schools, and community centers around the world. They avoided the curse of the 3rd generation because Samuel understood that the most valuable thing he could leave his children was not his money, but his habit. The contrast with the modern educational approach is stark. We send our young adults out into the world with degrees in specialized fields, but with zero understanding of how to navigate the financial realities of life. They are encouraged to take on massive student loan debt without understanding the long-term implications of compound interest working against them. They are targeted by credit card companies before they even have a steady income. They are thrown into a complex financial ecosystem completely unarmed. This is not an accident. It is the predictable result of a system that prioritizes creating compliant consumers over independent producers. To break free from this cycle, you must become a radical advocate for your own financial education and the education of your family. You must treat the acquisition of financial wisdom with the same urgency and dedication that you would treat a medical emergency. Read books on investing, study the financial principles found in the Torah and Talmud, seek out mentors who have built wealth ethically, and practice what you learn. Do not be afraid to make mistakes, but make them on a small scale while you are learning. The cost of financial ignorance is far higher than the cost of a few early investing mistakes. Furthermore, you must actively counter the cultural narrative that wealth is inherently corrupting or that poverty is a virtue. The Torah does not romanticize poverty. Poverty is described as a severe hardship, a state that limits a person's ability to serve God and their community fully. Wealth, when acquired honestly and used righteously, is viewed as a blessing and a tool for immense good. When you embrace the habit of financial chinook, you are not giving in to greed. You are stepping up to your responsibility to be a force for good in the world. You are equipping yourself to build a fortune that can support your family, uplift your community, and honor the divine source of all abundance. The disappearance of this habit from schools was a tragedy, but it does not have to be your tragedy. The knowledge is still here. The principles have not changed. The 5 jars still work. The discipline of saving, investing, and giving still produces the same miraculous results it produced 3,000 years ago. The only thing missing is your decision to implement it. Make that decision today. Reclaim the habit. Teach it to your children. And watch as the ancient wisdom of the Torah transforms your financial reality, building a fortune that will endure for generations to come. And remember, if you are ready to take this transformation to the highest possible level, the Torah Millionaire Business School is waiting for you. For a limited time, you can access the complete Torah Wealth System for just $299. This is the exact blueprint I have used to help thousands of people achieve massive financial and spiritual success. The doors are closing soon, so click the link in the comments and in the description right now.